Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful, man, this is going to be a conversation that you are going to love. I want everybody to like and share this program right now while we're getting, warmed up in this program. And I want you to understand that we're here to educate and enlighten and make you feel comfortable with what's going on with regard to the vaccines for this COVID. We have had a tough year and a half, and it has just been so devastating to so many people, so many families, and my family was included. We had COVID. It actually took my mom. My dad had it, my mom had it, and I had it. And actually, my wife had it. Everybody in my family had it. My brother didn't get it. But anyway, I'm saying this. It's been a tough time with the COVID, and we're getting educated daily on what we should and shouldn't do, and we want to be as safe as possible. And the only way we can do that is if we get information from the professionals, and we trust our professionals. Now, we had a president in office that was absolutely ridiculous, and you can go and tell him I said it, because the information he was trying to get was from his own mind somewhere, and not the professionals that were there and have dedicated their lives and careers to giving us the answers we need in times like this. Now, you can be very smart and very businesslike and whatever, but you don't go to a butcher to get real estate information. It's just not what we do. We go to the professionals to get the information. So now that we have a semblance of normalcy with regard to level-headed thinking in a new president, I'm telling you, I feel like we're back to being human beings again. And that's not necessarily a shot at him, but if it is, you can take it. He's taking everything. Let him take that shot. But now that we're back to that, we've got vaccines. I will give him credit for starting that. But we've got vaccines that will help us get through this pandemic. And it didn't have to be a pandemic. I keep going back and forth to that. But listen, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I could talk all day because I got a lot to say about this kind of stuff. But I'm going to introduce this dear, let me say this first. Before I get to this beautiful lady with a big, beautiful smile, I'm going to talk about my dad. My dad is Bishop John H. Sheard. He's doing great. We thank God that he has healed him and brought him through the pandemic. He's stronger. He's to himself, and we love hearing him preach on every Sunday. He teaches from the table at Greater Mitchell Temple Church of God in Christ, and we are excited that he is our pastor, he's our bishop, and he is also the unprecedented fifth term elected chairman of the Board of Bishops. And he's a great man. So the leaders thought that he was great as well. So I want to give honor to him. And then we just want to talk about the Willie Mae Sheard Foundation is being formulated and established even while we're speaking. And the Willie Mae Sheard Foundation was organized as a result of the kindness, the compassion, and the push that our dear Mother Willie Mae Sheard, gave us during her lifetime. She supported young people to do things excellently, to be proud of their heritage, and to in their academics and their social and cultural awareness. So we've established this foundation in her name, and it's rightly named the Willie Mae Sheard Foundation, and it's going to be promoting those very things: academics, social awareness, and cultural awareness. And it's going to provide scholarships and tutoring and different things to make sure that our generations behind us have the capacity and have the tools to be excellent and come forth in greatness. So this foundation, you're going to hear more about it because we're going to get it launched in just a couple weeks here. We're getting everything in order and we're going forward. So let's get started. You see this beautiful lady here next to me, and she is my guest. She is the Dr. Brittany Sheard Capel, and she is an anesthesiologist and a pain physician for the Henry Ford Allegiance Hospital in Jackson, Michigan. She was born and raised on the east side of Detroit. East side? And And she completed her undergraduate degree at Bowling Green State University in Bowling Green, Ohio. She went on to obtain her master's in biomedical science and the medical degree at the University of Toledo in Ohio. So she's got the credentials. And I'm not going to hold this last part against her, but she it still means something. She then completed her residency and fellowship at University of Michigan. Go Green. I'm sorry.
Oh,
During the pandemic, I know I got to give it to you. Come on, I got to be me, Britt. During the pandemic, she has been on the front lines, and see, I got a great deal of respect for everybody working on the front line. For she's responsible for placing breathing or endotracheal tubes for patients with COVID. And after her pain clinic was closed, and she was transferred to the ICU to assist with ventilator management during the COVID surge. She is Dr. Brittany Sheard Capel. Now, listen, let me give you a side note on Brittany. Brittany, besides all of that, she is, you notice her name is Sheard. She is my cousin. And I'm telling you, she has been a wonderful blessing to our family. She has been a source of information and experience for us. And the wonderful thing about her, and I'll say this wherever I go, is that we did not solicit any information from her. She found out that we were in the situation we were, and she called to offer her assistance because I'm telling you, we didn't know. We've never been through this kind of thing. And she guided us and led us through, made us feel comfortable, explained things to us and put it in, regular language so we can understand. I'm telling you, she may have given me a partial medical degree during this time.
one. Yes.
Yeah, because she has been wonderful, and we thank God for her. We wouldn't have made it without you, Brittany, and you will always be our girl. And I think I can speak for my brother as well. All right, so here she is, the one and only Dr. Brittany Capel, Brittany Sheard Capel.
Yes.
Come on, everybody, just do that if you can. Okay, come on, Brittany. Hey, Brittany, say hello to everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Definitely honor Bishop John Henry Sheard and the rest of Greater Mitchell Temple. I'm so glad to be on here and talk to y'all about everything that I've learned through this pandemic and share with you information so you can be informed in terms of your decision with vaccination.
Right. Okay. All right, Brittany. Now we've had some conversations before.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and then some people are going to give us some questions while we're here, so be ready for those. But let's get started with just a brief history of COVID. Where did it come from, and what does COVID mean? I know what it means. I think I do. See if I know. Corona is the COVID is corona. CO is corona, and VID is virus.
The virus, and the D is disease. So
got it.
Yep.
Go ahead, explain it for us.
So its actual name is Systemic Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2. It was given that name in February 2020 by the World Health Organization. And it belongs to a family of SARS. I don't know if you remember back in 2003 when SARS was a big deal. But it's a little different because this disease has caused much more significant morbidity and mortality.
Right.
It was first identified in China, in Wuhan, back in December 2019. Lots of different hypotheses or how it came about. Some say it was leaked from a lab. Some say it jumped from wildlife to humans naturally, but regardless, it just has very unique qualities that make it extremely infectious. Currently, we are at 3.38 million people who have died worldwide from this disease, 500,000 deaths in the United States, and 20,000 deaths in Michigan, most of which are in Wayne County, Oakland County, and Macomb County. So it's affecting all age groups. And obviously more significant with patients who have or people who have comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension. They're doing a lot of research on different blood types that are affected as well. So it's just been, in terms of its history, it might seem like it's new, but its family has been around for a very long time.
Now tell me something. Why do you, and I told you I wasn't going to give you any surprise, but I just want to say, the 3.38 million deaths worldwide. but
Mhm.
I think we're up to 588,000
Yes.
Americans dead.
Yes. Yes.
And why do you think it affected at first it didn't affect the young people like it did the older people? Why do you think it's now beginning to affect younger people?
I think that it's beginning to affect younger people because we're starting to see different strains. And I
Uh,
think initially the strain that we had here maybe was more susceptible or had more susceptibility to the elderly. And now that we have all these different virus strains, it's just
uh,
related to the genetic composition of that virus that is going after the younger population more than it was before.
right. So if let me say it, let me go back in time if I can. I guess January 2020. I think that was the
Sure.
first time we heard that somebody had it in America.
Hmm.
Um, if we had speculatively, of course. I mean, we can't. I think you'll answer the question. If we had started then wearing masks, if we had started like in the beginning, shut down everything for a month or whatever,
Hmm.
because we had no control of it, how it was spreading. Maybe not in January. Maybe I could say better in March if we had done that,
Hmm.
because in
Hmm.
January was first, and then we didn't know how infectious it was at that time. But in
Hmm.
March, we definitely knew it was really bad. And if we had started wearing masks and shut down everything, then give me an idea of where we could be.
I think that we could be at a significantly lower amount of deaths as far as the disease. I think that in terms of the viral strains, we probably wouldn't see as many because that's a result of the virus being able to like morph and
Mutate.
adapt to exactly
Yes.
mutate and adapt to the different environments that it's in. So that's the thing about viruses. If they don't have anywhere to go, they go away.
Right.
So if we had shut things down earlier, I don't think that we would have had the same impact that it has currently.
Yeah, so we might be talking about instead of 588,000 Americans dead, we might be talking about, and I'm pushing it. Let me push it. We might be talking about 50,000.
Right. It would I think it would be substantially less.
Wow.
Now, China shut down pretty early and then it became a point where, we heard about them early on and then we just stopped getting news from about what was happening with the coronavirus in China. And
Hmm.
part of that was that everything shut down. Like it
Right.
shut down.
Right.
And I think that's how they were able to get a better hold of the virus than we were. Because they did shut down earlier than us. And
Okay.
with the way that their government works, they were able to more strictly enforce across the nation the shutdown.
Okay. Now let me ask this: if you get the coronavirus, like I've had it, okay, and
Hmm.
then I developed, and I guess I don't want to give you such a leading question, but I'll say this: I developed some antibodies.
Sure.
Um, is that normal to explain how that goes? Once you catch the coronavirus, explain what it does to you.
Okay, so once you get coronavirus in your body, it binds to receptors that are in different parts of your body, the lung, the liver, the colon. Actually has little spikies on it like this
Oh, okay.
that that attach to the cell. And once it attaches to the cell, it gets in and it uses the proteins that live inside of your cell to reproduce itself and reproduce the proteins. It then kind of reconstructs itself and gets back out in the bloodstream. Your bloodstream is like, what is this? This is foreign. It
Mm-hmm.
starts to respond by inflammation, like the same way your body responds if you get any other infection, the fever, all those things. Like the inflammatory process goes on about, and then part of that, your body's defense is to make antibodies. So yes, when you get exposed, you make the antibodies.
So let me ask this: so antibodies, do antibodies normally combat some kind of bacteria or virus that gets in your body?
So typically antibodies will combat like viruses and bacteria. That's like your body's just generalized response to a foreign substance in your body. You make antibodies anytime something that's not of some sort of infection that is foreign gets into your body. So yes, it's a natural process.
So is that a
Sometimes they're not
case?
as I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, I think you were
Sometimes
going to
they're
answer.
not as specific. So, like for example, with viruses, antibodies. sometimes are not as effective, that
Hmm.
you make sometimes naturally, and then other times that they are. And so when it's bacteria, sometimes the antibodies can be a little bit more specific.
Got it. Got it. I think you kind of answered because I was going to say, obviously, our antibodies to coronavirus weren't strong enough to fight it off. And so it wins. The virus wins in that case if we don't like take something to help build up those antibodies to fight. Am I saying that right?
Well, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, there are a lot of different ways to help your immunity, and one thing, like you said, is to make sure that you have all of the vitamins and nutrition in there for your cells to work at their, maximum capacity, or so that definitely helps and assists with your ability to fight off infection.
Okay, so let's get to this part because this is where we are now. We've lost so many people, and I mean we're going round and round. I mean, and again, let me say this: we lost more people, more Americans, that is, from in 1 year than all of the wars we fought with combined, and is absolutely. I got to say this, Brittany. I don't know. We talked about this. I got to say this. I don't know how our former president isn't going to be held with negligence after
Mm,
so many people died
mm-hmm.
when he knew about it in January and dismantled the team that did this, the team that put this stuff together and gave us these false hopes that it's going to go away when the weather gets warm or we're rounding the corner, that kind of nonsense rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't understand how he's not going to be held negligent. And he's the leader of our country. We're supposed to trust him. All right, we're supposed to
Right,
think that he's got the best interest for the entire country at heart. And he
right,
had that information, and it wouldn't have hurt him to give us that information or give the people or say, "Hey, let's do this."
right.
Uh, anyway, I mean, you don't have to comment on that unless
I
you
mean,
want to.
the one comment I will say is that I think that Biden and the administration, even before Biden and Donald Trump's administration, I think that they took the frame of mind of, it's not really about a blame game or
Yeah,
finding out the source or who knew. They look at it like it's here.
it's there.
So they kind of shift in focus from trying to pinpoint, okay, it's your fault or your fault. And I
Yeah,
kind of appreciate that because them doing those investigations, that's tax dollars. That's money that they could be spending towards
yeah,
research and other
right,
things that can really help combat the virus. So I kind of commend them for not really giving him that attention because
right,
he thrives off of attention.
right. True that.
So I do appreciate the fact that they didn't even spend time on that. It's more about, okay, how can we fix it now that it's
Get it
here?
done. Right. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. Going forward, we got to just, the
Right.
milk is spilled already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we got to just get it up and make the best of what we got here. So
Right.
now,
That's all you can do.
so now we have the vaccine.
Hmm.
And I can probably say this with ease. We got it in record time compared
Yes.
to other vaccines.
Yes.
Explain
Yes.
why we got it so fast.
So we got it really fast for a few different reasons. So typically, vaccines, medications go through the FDA,
Mhm.
and that process can take up to 2 years. With it being a pandemic, they kind of said, you know what, it's a pandemic, funding should not be an issue. So part of that 18-month delay is because of funding, finding patients, getting the protocols together, all of that stuff. Like the FDA didn't create those same barriers, and people were flooding to try to be in these trials, and they
Mhm.
provided funding for the trial. So a lot of things that typically prohibit the trial from moving forward were removed so that the trials can move forward. The other thing is they combined phases. So like the preclinical trial and the phase
Mhm.
one were put together. And so they also use more people. So when you use more people in the trials, you're able to get more data
Mhm.
and get information about it.
Okay. All right. So now we got it. And,
Yeah.
you know, when we hear 94% efficacy,
Hmm.
um, 94 is always good,
Yes.
but why isn't it 100%? I mean, is that I'm not sure that's a question, I mean,
So nothing
go
is
ahead.
really, I
Okay.
don't can't think of one vaccine or one treatment that is 100%.
Uh-huh.
Nothing.
Nothing.
So it's just a matter of statistics. Like, although, right now, the Pfizer phase 3 trial with the
Right.
children, they
Children.
said they have that 100% efficacy, which I think in reality is probably less than that, but it is very good.
Well,
But I
well,
think
let me
it's
ask you this.
difficult to get 100%.
Well, let me ask you this. So the efficacy just simply means 94%. If the virus attacks you, you're 94% likely to win.
Correct. Yeah, like
Okay.
not get sick,
No.
not show symptoms. But it doesn't really, those numbers don't really take into account an asymptomatic infection.
Okay.
So the way that they looked at those trials to get those numbers is they didn't test. So the Pfizer was 45,000 people. They didn't test all 45,000 people after. They only tested the people who came and said, I have symptoms or
Mhm.
I feel like something wrong. And then they tested them. And then, they saw that it was only 6% of people that got the vaccine and then 94% of people who didn't get the vaccine. So that's how they get
Mhm.
those numbers. So that's why the asymptomatic carrier is really the person that can continue to allow for this to go on, because they can go around, they can spread the disease, and nobody will really know unless
Mhm.
they tested them randomly.
Right, right. Now I'm looking at my screen here. I see somebody saying something about uh, when they in the vaccine is the coronavirus. Is that true?
No. So in the vaccine, so it's two different types of vaccines. The Johnson and Johnson is different than the Pfizer and the Moderna.
Mm-hmm.
The Pfizer and Moderna are mRNA vaccines. So those are genetically, like they're engineered mRNA. So it's not the virus itself. It's just a piece of like code, like coding of the virus's proteins, not the
Mm.
actual virus itself. So
Okay.
when your body gets that like code, it brings that code into the cell. It uses the proteins outside of the nucleus, outside of the DNA, outside of your genetic material. It uses just the enzymes that sit outside in the cell to reproduce that protein. It pushes that protein out and it puts it on top of all of your cells. And your cells recognize that it's a foreign protein floating around, and then it starts to make the antibodies. So
Mm-hmm.
no, you're not injected with the virus with that one. The Johnson and Johnson is a vector vaccine. What that means is that it uses a virus, a weak virus, and it puts some genetic material inside of that, and you get the virus is like a weak virus.
Mm-hmm.
You get that into your body. It's like a vector to get that genetic material inside of your body. And then again, you make that protein, you put that protein on top of your cells, and then you make antibodies to it. So neither one are you infected with coronavirus. It's a piece of engineered material from the virus, but not the actual full-fledged sequence.
Got it. Got it. So now we're, I'm leading us because we got to talk about the conspiracy theories in just a second. We got to because it's absolutely ridiculous, these
Okay.
conspiracy theories.
Okay.
But
All right.
but I want to say this. Now the virus, if you've had coronavirus
Can I say
and
one more thing?
sure,
Sorry.
sure.
So back to the person who asked about whether or not you get injected with the virus.
Hmm.
I feel like people are not aware of the fact that when you get MMR or the measles, mumps, rubella, you're getting a live virus.
Oh.
When you get Hep B, you're getting a piece of the live virus. When
Hmm.
you get like a tetanus shot, you're getting a piece of a toxin that virus makes. So in terms of like, would you say when you think about a mechanism um, of a vaccine, those are, and when I hear that, like, okay, I'm getting injected with a live virus, but these are safe. Like MMR
Mm,
has been around for years. So in
right,
terms of like risks associated with it, no, you're not getting the real virus. You're getting it in these other ones which are safe. So
right.
just think about that before you like, oh, well, I'm kind of scared about getting this vaccine. Well, there are other vaccines that seem to have more risk in terms of like if you think about the mechanism.
Sounds like you're trying to drag me into those theories, and I was going to because they are ridiculous.
Please
I'm gonna
talk
keep.
about them. Let's do it. Let's talk
Okay, let's
about
go.
it.
Well, but this is I want to ask you this first. If you've had
Okay.
coronavirus, how long after you quarantined and then tested negative should you have to wait to actually get the vaccine? Can you get
That's
it
a
right
good.
away?
No, they tell you to wait like at least kind of like around a month. They say
Okay.
wait. So I would
Okay.
not get vaccinated immediately. Some people, which this is not by recommendation of CDC, because you know when you get the virus, you have natural antibodies for,
Sure.
they say, a minimum of 3 months. So
Mhm.
some people will say, I had the virus, I'm going to wait 3 months and then get the vaccine. But they say at least a month.
Mm. Well, if you've had the virus and you get um, uh, quarantine and
Hmm.
then you test negative,
Hmm.
you can catch the virus again in that 3 month waiting period, right?
Technically, you can because the antibody like formation does not always equate with um you're 100% immune. Again,
Immune, right?
even with the vaccine, we know it's only 94% effective. So
Right.
there are still people who can have full on antibodies either from the vaccine or from the natural disease and still get it because it's not 100%. Neither
It's not.
one, the humoral immunity, so the one you make yourself, or the vaccine immunity, not 100%. So yeah, some people, I've had patients who, yes, like within 2 months testing positive and it went positive, negative, positive, and it's
Mhm.
it's possible. Like, what if you get a different strain that
True
your
that.
antibodies are not as specific to?
Right.
Lots of different reasons why you can get infected even in that 3 month window after you had it.
Okay. But now the thing about the vaccine, once you get it, it's if you get the virus again, it's if you get the virus again, it won't be as bad.
Right, right.
Okay.
So all of the vaccines give statistics about if you were to get coronavirus, what the likelihood is if you get severe disease or need to be intubated or have a breathing tube placed or having just severe respiratory complications. Now, all of the vaccines are over 80% effective at preventing that. So that's one thing that even if you were to get coronavirus, even with the vaccine, like people look at it and they say, man, like because I know people, I work with people who have gotten vaccinated and
Mm-hmm.
have ended up with coronavirus, but it's like, but symptom wise, very minimal if any. So it's like, what do you think would have happened had you not got the vaccine?
Right. 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 And that's what people are not taking into consideration. I mean, it's this is important. Okay. So I've got the vaccine. Wait a minute. Somebody had a question. Let me see. What happens if you're asymptomatic and get vaccinated?
So if you're asymptomatic and you get vaccinated, you could potentially have more side effects from the vaccine because you'll get the inflammatory response from your natural body responding,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get that inflammatory response from the vaccine triggering it. So you just are likely to have more severe side effects from the vaccine if you are
Right.
asymptomatic. So I
Well,
recommend you get tested before you
test it
get the
first.
vaccine.
Yeah, we just got to do things in the right order here.
Yes.
I
Yep.
mean, it's good that that person wanted to get vaccinated, but
Right.
just go get tested real
Get
quick and
tested
then
before
make
you get the
sure.
vaccine because
Yeah.
that will prevent you from having. That's why they tell you to wait
Mm.
that time between getting the virus and getting the vaccine because your body can go into this super duper big inflammatory, like it's just like, whoa, it's just a lot of foreign things in my body that I need to fight.
Right.
So it can make you, more sick than others.
Than others. Okay. So we're recommending, it's my recommendation. You got to get vaccinated, because what we're doing when we get vaccinated is not only protecting ourselves against the virus, but we're protecting other people, our
Yeah.
friends and family and the community. And we want to make sure that our community is healthy again. We want to be able to, I miss being able to go across the street and have a conversation with my neighbors.
Yeah.
We stand out on the street and just talk and talk. And we can't do that. Now, let me go into this because CDC said some things about now that you got fully vaccinated people, you can take your mask off. Now, when they said that, I didn't agree.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can, well, I mean, what we're talking about is even though you're vaccinated, you can still be asymptomatic and
Yes.
get the disease. And it
Yes.
won't bother you as much, but it might bother somebody else because the virus acts differently with each individual.
Yes.
And that's the reason why some people had to be put on a ventilator and all of that stuff. And me, I was in there for 6 days, and my oxygen levels went down to about 80. But it came back up after a while. But that was all that happened. I had trouble breathing a little bit. I'm saying a little bit. That's a big deal. I'm not trying to minimize that. But I didn't have to be put on a ventilator. I didn't have to go through all of the terrible things that we hear stories about other people going through. So the point I'm making is it's just different on different people. So we got to be careful, not just for us, but we got to be careful for other people, because
Yes,
we can be
exactly.
hurting them really. We can be potentially, sending them to their death with this virus by not being
Yes.
careful. So, contrary to what the CDC said, while you can probably, it's likely that people won't get sick, just put your mask on for a while
Yes.
until
And
we
cover
get
your
this.
nose when you wear the
Oh,
mask.
I wish I had a mask down here.
Oh
How
man, I gotta
crazy.
find
Wait
a
a minute.
mask.
Wait a minute. Here you go,
Oh.
Britt. Here you go. What is this helping? I mean, we just do dumb things. You put your mask on and you walk around like this. Now you got your mask on. Yes, on. You
Right.
nut. It needs
I
to be up
didn't.
over
I
here.
didn't see people wearing the headband.
Right.
The
All you
headband.
can see is their
No.
eyes. I know it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Yes.
that is absolutely
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The virus is a respiratory. It gets into your respiratory system. Is that correct?
That's correct. And also, because it binds to that ACE receptor, it can get into your colon. It can get your heart, your lungs. That's why you see the kidneys. That's why you see all of those different manifestations of it, like where people have kidney failure, people have the GI symptoms, the diarrhea,
Yeah.
all those things. That's because that receptor is on top of all of those different organs. So that's why you see just different clinical manifestations of it.
Yeah, but am I clear that it gets in through your mouth or your nose?
That's correct.
That's correct. So let me say it again. It gets into your body through your nose and your mouth. So, duh. Even this,
Yeah, no, yeah, do that one. Yeah.
that's not working.
No, tell them.
I
Tell
don't
the
understand.
people.
What is the problem? Why? If you're gonna do that, don't wear a mask.
No, don't tell them that.
Oh yeah, don't tell me. I'm sorry. That's correct. I didn't mean that. X what I just said.
Yes,
Wear a
just
mask.
wear it properly.
Period.
Find one that you're comfortable with. I
Yeah.
think people always say, I can't breathe. It's difficult. Go out and find some material that you feel comfortable in, but you have
Right.
to, and you need to. It's those particles. Those particles can float in the air.
In the air.
That, it will float, and it can float for minutes to hours if you are in a non-ventilated area. It stays on top of surfaces. It can stay on plastic, stainless steel up to 3 days. So washing your hands, keeping your mask on, keeping your hands off your face, all that is really important to preventing the spread.
So let me ask, and we're getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
We can go to a restaurant now. Okay. But now I went to a restaurant last night with my wife. It's really cold in there, so the air is just blowing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, right?
Temperature,
Not
not really.
temperature, but just that the air
Oh,
is
the
blowing.
ventilation?
Yeah,
Yes, no. So I
yeah,
think that a lot of businesses did install in better ventilation systems to just prevent that risk or decrease that risk of
decreased it. Yeah.
those particles staying in the air from poor ventilation. So
Sure,
that's
sure.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
And I
Well,
think
yeah.
Michigan restaurants are doing a really good job.
Okay.
We went out like a month ago and they, had tables in between. Like, so they had blocked off, like they was every other table.
Right.
So I think, restaurants are doing the best they can with trying to maintain business while maintain social distancing. And I understand both ways.
Right. Yeah, I do too. Now, somebody did have a question on the screen
Sure, I
about,
did. I saw it and then
yeah,
it
I think
disappeared.
we answered that question though.
Oh, okay, cool.
Regarding you should be tested
Yes.
again if you were positive and you did your quarantine and everything, and you need to be tested again, negative, and then wait the 30 days. Correct?
I would wait. That's
Yeah.
what I would do because if you don't, you just run the risk of just having more side effects from um the virus.
Right. Right. Wait a minute. Somebody said something about ears. Oh, somebody's clowning. Okay. What company has the best vaccine? There's Matthew Hill.
Oh, okay, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
Well, okay, so off the data, if you go off data, let's just go off data. Okay, so Pfizer
Mhm.
has a 95% effectiveness at preventing, symptomatic disease and 75% effectiveness at preventing severe disease.
Mhm.
Moderna has um 95% for both. Johnson and Johnson has 72% effectiveness for symptomatic and then 85% prevention of severe disease. So if you went off of just data alone, like that, those numbers from their studies, Moderna has the best efficacy and prevention of severe disease.
Okay.
If I had to go based off data.
Yeah. You said, and I had the Moderna, so that's the
Oh,
recommendation. Yeah, that's the
oh, I had
recommendation I get.
Pfizer. I had
Okay.
Pfizer.
Okay. Well,
I'm
long
I
as you
think
get,
I think that you got something. That's
yeah.
okay.
Amen. Okay, this is my wife talking here. Oh, there's my wife. I've
Oh,
been married to my wife for 18 years, and we
happy
celebrated
anniversary! Your video
18
is so
years.
happy anniversary. Y'all so cute. I love
Yeah.
it. I love
Yeah.
black love. I love black love.
Amen. Yeah, she took care of me when I got sick. I'm telling you.
She was
And
taking care of everything. She's a little angel. I kept telling her, I
oh,
said, I can just tell God talking in your ear. She's an angel.
you
She
don't
is.
you don't understand. I and then she had the virus and was asymptomatic while she's taking care of me, and we didn't even know it.
Mm.
So I mean, just God was in this.
God was
So
all in that.
yeah, so we are just. I'm so thankful for her because when I really was sick in the beginning, man, and let me tell you this quick story. I see leave her question up for a minute because I want to ask her a question. I was sick in the beginning, and my symptom was my temperature was like 104, and yeah, and I was walking around, and I'm telling you, I was sitting in the den, and the Lord told me, I promise you, it was Him, because I was just sitting there watching TV, to get up and go in the room where she was. She was in one of the guest rooms, I guess, doing some, I don't know what she was doing anyway. So I obeyed. I got up and I walked in there where she was and stumbled in there and kind of sat on the bed.
Mm.
And she looked at me like, "What's wrong with you?" and, and I said, I didn't think I was gonna make it or something. I said like that. And she later, well, let me tell you what she did. Just hold that. Just remember that quote right there. She grabbed the oil, and I think the oil was right in her reach. She pulled it off my mom's dress, one of my mom's, and she slapped that oil, man, and started praying for
Yes,
me. And
yes,
I'm telling you,
that's a
she
good
pushed me
wife.
over, and then she put
Yes,
some ice on me, and
yes,
oh my God,
yes,
she was like, and
yes.
then so I said that to say that later she thought I said that I wasn't gonna make it, like I was gonna die. But I was like, what? No, that's not what I said. I didn't mean I was gonna die. I mean, I didn't think I was gonna make it into the room without falling down.
She
I
like,
really
look,
didn't.
I'm rebuking that right now.
Right
Right now.
now.
This ain't happening right now.
Right.
Yes, yes,
She let
yes.
me what I didn't want my wife to have to do is try to pick me up off the, off the floor. And at that time I was a lot bigger than I am now, but even
Mhm.
still, I didn't want her, and the Lord allowed me to make it to the end of the bed, and I fell onto the bed. So she was able to handle me, if you will. But yeah, so my wife is truly an
She's
angel.
amazing.
Can you give me that
She's
question
amazing.
again? Can you
I
give
was
me that
trying to look.
question? Here it is. Why was the virus so bad early on and killed so many people, and now the death rate has slowed down and it's still the same virus? Can you elaborate on that?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think it's multifactorial. I think one is the fact that people are social distancing, wearing the mask, kind of slowing down the ability for the virus to jump from host to host and it's losing its virulence. Like, it's still infectious, but at the same time, like not as virulent or not as like deadly because people are slowing down its ability to move from host to host.
Okay.
The other thing is that with it just mutating on its own, I think it's just losing its virulence. I think we're learning more about it, and so
Mhm.
treatment wise, oh man, like I don't. What was that y'all calling? I was telling y'all the name of the new drug that they using now. I mean, they are so different. So many different.
Rendisivir,
Not
wasn't it?
no, not that one. It's another one. One of those monoclonal antibodies that they're using
Oh,
in the infusions. It's like three or four of them.
oh my
So in terms of treatment, they just know so much more. So and
God.
they're intervening earlier. So,
Right.
in terms of people's treatment, people are getting home infusions of those monoclonal antibodies and it's keeping them out the hospital. I just think
Right.
the fact that people have more knowledge and it's
Right.
just more treatment option. Back when Willa May was in the hospital, I
Right.
remember begging that doctor for remdesivir. And he said
Mhm.
she not pregnant, um, she can't, she doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
Now they give it
Exactly.
out to everyone.
Exactly.
So I think availability of treatments has really changed the death rate. And I think that people implementing some of these just universal precautions has also decreased the virus like virulence or
Yeah, they just
um,
back then we just I mean, honestly, they were giving me what they call the Z pack,
right.
which yeah, which was basically vitamins and zinc and stuff.
No, a
Oh, it
Z
had some
pack is
hydrochloroquine in there.
right. Z-Pak is azithromycin. So it
Okay.
is still an antibiotic.
Okay.
But it's got they use it when they were giving it. It wasn't for the antibiotic portion. It's just got some anti-inflammatory
Hmm.
properties. So they were using it for those properties, not for the actual like uh
To
ability
treat,
to treat a virus or a bacteria. It was
it was
more for
trying
the
to get ready for what the virus was going to do to me.
right, or help your body to beat what it was going to do to your
Right.
your
Wow.
immune system. So it wasn't um actually targeting anything other than decreasing the inflammatory
Right.
component because people that is what harms people is the inflammatory response. When
Got it.
you get that inflammation in the body, your blood start making all of those different cells and it clogs up like those
Mm.
cells and the debris clogs up the blood vessels, you get blood clots.
Right.
All that inflammation in the different organs, like that's why you see it. It's your body's response to the virus that's causing people to have the
And,
morbidity and mortality.
and to add on to that, the vaccine has, now that we started getting the vaccine at such a healthy rate, if I can say that, it could have curbed some of the deaths. I mean,
I think it
yeah,
has. I do. I
yeah,
think so. They did a real world study in first responders and showed that it's definitely helping prevent people who are first responders from having symptomatic and asymptomatic disease.
oh, that's
So
great.
with that, yes, like with that, with people like me who are exposed every day,
Right.
that's great news. That's definitely moving forward in the right direction in terms of like the vaccine's ability to really combat this thing.
Right. Okay. All right. I see Dr. Candace Gillespie, our other cousin in Mount
Oh,
Zion. She's on
hey,
too, right? Now, here we go.
hey. Here we
Let's go with
go.
this conspiracy.
Oh, okay, yes, because
Come on.
my anonymous person would love for you to address the mark of the beast and the
Oh my God.
luciferase gene and the signs of the end times. So I think that it's great for you to kind of speak on from a religious perspective why some of those because I'm speaking more from the medical, like people like, oh, we
Right.
don't know it, like this is, let me
Right.
tell you, let me hear some data. I gave the data, let me hear the religious
Right.
perspective on why it's important to get vaccinated and why those theories have no basis. Oh,
Okay.
I'm interviewing
Yes, and
you.
you flipped that
Yes,
thing on me.
I flipped that.
Well, listen, let me say it like this. Okay, first of all, when I minister, I try to keep it basic because, the basic ministry is you can grab hold to it easier. When we relate to your simple side, A, B, C, D, E, as opposed to giving you a quadratic equation, then you're more apt to understand and to do it. So even in ministry, we don't want to tell you, I don't need to start off by telling you need the Holy Ghost. Yeah, you need it, but I want to start with that. Let's start with something simple like you need to stop doing what you know is wrong and do what you know is right. Let's start with what you know. All right. Now, these conspiracy theories start with this mark of the beast. They're injecting you with this, that, a chip or whatever. Do you go to the doctor? Do you have a doctor?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you do. You go to the doctor because you get sick. You go straight to the doctor, and the doctor tells you, take 2 of these and, the cliche, and call me in the morning, so to speak. But
Mm-hmm.
he'll give you a prescription. And when you have that prescription, you take it, and then you go to another pharmacist who won't even give you the prescription that doctor said unless you bring this paper that he signed off on.
Mm-hmm.
Not one time are you able to even pronounce the medicine that they're giving you. But you're taking, you'll go to CVS and sit there and wait for them to fill. You get it, and watch this. You'll go get a soda out of the cooler at CVS. So as soon as they get it, you pop it open, take them and drink it. And that is for some simple stuff. But we're talking about a disease
Mm-hmm.
that has ravished the American people, the world,
Mm-hmm.
and killed upwards of 588,000 Americans. And now you want to say, I need to know what's in there. I need to know what's going on. Oh, who did that? They did that too fast. They did. Yeah, but you went to the doctor and got this amphithesia moccasin, something you can't even pronounce, and you don't know how they made it. You don't know what's in it, but you take it real easy and you just, I got my medicine, and you even feel good about taking that medicine. Okay? But now we got to combat. We're in a war against this virus,
Mm-hmm.
and it's taken out more people because, quite frankly, if we had had the vaccine early, let's even refer to. I'm sorry, you wanted me to stay on the religious side.
Yes.
Okay, let me come back to that.
Side.
I'm sorry, because I try to keep things basic so you understand. Now, do we believe in God? Do we believe that Jesus died for our sins? Have we confessed that? And now we believe. Doctors are put in place for us to take advantage of their knowledge. We trust God in all things. God is our provider. He's our sustainer. He's our refuge. We call on God. But are we to ignore the intelligence of who God has placed in the midst of us? Brittany is brilliant. I mean, she's got the information, she's got the knowledge, she's got how to even implement it. And are we to ignore what she's saying? And because then we say, well, our religion, you got faith, you're supposed to use your faith. Well, you don't even have that much faith to even talk about that. Yeah, how are you going to go to something? If you got the kind of faith that you believe that God can heal you from anything and I don't have to take it, you certainly wouldn't be saying to other people who you don't know have that same kind of faith, because there's levels of faith in sanctification, in our religion, in Pentecostalism, and in those levels of faith, I'm not supposed to make you subject to my level of faith if it's way higher than yours. What I'm supposed to do is encourage you to bring your faith up to mine. In the meantime, my brother, am I going to tell you not to go to the doctor? No, I'm not. No, because I believe the doctors have knowledge that God has given them to work on us. Brittany went to school for 15 years to learn how to help us with our issues, our problems. And even every day she runs into problems that she hasn't seen before, and they're still figuring out how to make it easy for us. So God has not made us unintelligent, because the Spirit of God is very intelligent. I mean, just like we go and we send our kids to get vaccinated, there was a time you had to have your shots before you could come to school, before you could do anything. And so now we are allowing these conspiracy theorists to say things to us, and it's only a trick of the enemy to make us not do what's here to help us. That would be equivalent to, there could be a conspiracy theorist that says you shouldn't eat chicken. And then they're going to say you shouldn't eat beef. You shouldn't eat vegetables. I mean, they're going to tell you only thing you can do is drink water. And then they're going to say it's something in the water. It's just too much nonsense from a faith-based background to then say, I'm not going to listen to doctors. I mean, just like I said early on, you got mechanics, you got butchers, you got doctors, you got real estate agents. They all serve in their professional place. And if we're going to trust them now, don't get me wrong, you got bad doctors, you got bad dentists, but you got good. Because you get a bad doctor does not mean you don't trust doctors anymore.
Right.
It's the same thing they do with pastors. You go to a certain church and you're there and your pastor does you wrong, as you say. And then you stop going to church altogether. No, go get a different church.
Right. That's like a lot of people do that. They'll say, oh, I had a bad experience with this, like you said. And so they just kind of.
If you have a bad experience at the drive-thru at McDonald's, don't go back to that McDonald's. That's how simple that is. See, we make things so complicated. You want to go all the way back to Mr. Ronald McDonald and say it's his fault that I had a bad experience at the drive-thru. It becomes very silly for us to engage those kind of theories, because we could be sitting here allowing ourselves to be sick, and then we put other people at risk, and things get dangerous and they die. I mean, in many cases, the drunk driver, let me say this, the drunk driver very rarely dies in a wreck.
Yes. And people
they kill other people.
Yes.
I mean, kids and everything, because of their negligence. And see, we don't want to be placed in that car. We don't want to be that one, because when we sober up, it's going to have an effect on our lives. All right. And we've affected other people's families. And how President Biden says, that empty seat at the chair. People have to live with that because we were being negligent and spreading these conspiracy theories. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe you ought to investigate. And I believe, we ought to do some research.
Yes.
But we got to trust somebody somewhere. And ultimately, we trust God, because God has never failed.
Right. If you trust God, all that stuff does not matter.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I rambled for a while, didn't I?
No, you got to the point.
Okay. I'm so sorry. But again, my ministry is simple. Let's do basic stuff. What makes sense? And if it doesn't make sense to you, let's have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
And then we have a discussion about it. I believe that it's going to make sense to you. I had a discussion with my friend, Brother Ryan Beal, in California. He's a great young man. and we talked about, we talked about, how you feel about the virus. I mean, the vaccine. And he said, well, I was hesitating because, and this is what he said, because we're trying to get pregnant again. And I
Mm,
said, wow, okay. And I didn't, when you start talking about protecting an unborn baby,
mhm.
that's, I need some more information about that. So I still want to take the virus, but I want to make sure I'm not taking it. Say something about that for me. Uh,
Sure. So
Pregnant
right
women.
now there is a registry that has almost 40,000 women who are pregnant or who received the or gave birth and had the vaccine while pregnant. In that registry, they track things like side effects because the studies are, ongoing. So this registry is the one thing that you can log into and find out information. So in terms of like side effects in general, they just have increased nausea and vomiting.
Hmm.
For severe side effects, the biggest things that they saw were uh, possible linking the vaccine to spontaneous abortion. In those cases of spontaneous abortion, the majority of them, so like out of the 30 something cases, 20 something of them were in the first trimester that they received a
Uh,
vaccine. So that's why they recommend that you don't get the vaccine in the first trimester, that you get it in the second trimester. Because they said that it was only two cases of spontaneous abortion of people who received, out of those 40,000 that have reported,
mhm,
that have received or the vaccine and then experienced spontaneous abortion.
mhm.
Other things that could happen that they talk about are small for gestational age and preterm delivery. But the biggest adverse effect that they talk about was the spontaneous abortion, which is why they made those recommendations. And the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists recommends getting the vaccine. They say you need to get the vaccine. And the babies are being born with antibodies. And so that should,
Oh, wow.
yes, yes, you get the vaccine and your baby is born with
Yeah,
antibodies. Um, and so that's important because as you've seen in the news, like infants are starting to pass away from
right,
coronavirus.
right.
So if you want to protect your kid, um, is actually one of the best ways to try to protect, which would make sure you can give it immunity while it's still in the womb.
But in the second trimester,
Second trimester.
second
Second
trimester.
trimester forward.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Now,
I
what
see a
if?
question down there.
Oh, yeah.
You see
Is it
that?
different? Oh,
Yeah.
is there a difference between the vaccine for ages 12 to 15 and 16 and older?
No, it's the
Oh,
same vaccine, the same dose, same regimen. Now when because they're about to in September start testing for 2 to 11. Now for
okay.
them, they will change the dose because that's a uh,
Change the dose,
change the dose.
but not the, what do you say? Not the what's in it.
No, no, it'll still
Right.
be the same composition, but they'll
Composition.
probably
That's what.
they're gonna decrease the dose just because
Got it.
it's talking about smaller children. But from 12 to
Okay.
15, it's the exact same vaccine, exact same regimen, and everything. No difference.
Sweet, yeah. So we're running as soon as we're counting the days to get Madison vaccinated.
Oh,
She just
good.
and she would have she would have gotten it if she hadn't contracted.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, but
So now,
so
yeah, she should. I will have her wait.
oh yeah, oh yeah. No, we're gonna fight. Hey, Brittany, you have been the ultimate leader, and
Oh,
we're
oh my
gonna do
gosh.
what you ask, what you tell us, because
Oh,
you haven't steered us wrong. So
okay.
we love it.
Oh,
There's
thank
something else
you.
I wanted to ask you. I had a wait a minute. Somebody asked something. Oh yeah, asthmatic. My son is asthmatic, so should I get vaccinated?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. Now I will say this: the side effects that I had when I got my first one, they were the same as when I got the second one, but I had a achy body, just wiped out.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I just went, laid down, got under cover, and just laid down there. And the next day, I was good. So it
Mhm.
wiped me out for a whole day, I should say. I got it back when I got the vaccine, I was good. But then the next day, it wiped me out for the whole day. And then the following day, I was good. And it did the
Mhm.
exact same thing for me.
Mhm.
Is the vaccination a one and done, or will it be ongoing?
likely ongoing.
Yeah,
Pfizer already announced that they expect for people to require boosters.
right.
Moderna expects it as well, but they want to do a little bit more research on the South African variant to see what the efficacy is on some of these different viral strains, but likely, very, very, very highly likely. And the other question is like, can you cross between like Pfizer and Moderna
Oh
or
yeah.
so on and so on? They don't know.
Oh,
None
they
of
don't
them
know
know.
that. Just stick with what you got. If you got a Pfizer, stick with Pfizer. You got just like if you got an iPhone, stick with your iPhone.
Oh, you
And
need to
if you
cross
got an
on over with
Android,
this Android then.
you got
And
your
I'm so
Android.
proud of Gwen for switching over. My mama got an iPhone too. I was proud. She don't use it, but I was proud.
The the only reason she watch this, let me tell you the reason my wife switched to somebody influenced her that she can
Oh,
have a tracker on Madison's phone. How's that? And what I was saying is, me and Madison was telling her, you can do that. You just put an app on there and it worked the same way. No, they told me. I said, okay, you got it. So now she can't work the phone because she's had
oh,
an Android.
you telling on
Exactly.
her.
Exactly. That's what she gets. Anyway, uh, let me see what else. Somebody else. I saw another. Oh, here we
My
go.
mama can't work hers.
Oh, here's Candace. There he goes about the iPhones
iPhone.
again.
Tell him, tell him, doctor. The iPhones are fine.
Right, yeah, they're fine until they're not, which is likely. Don't drop it on the floor. Oh no, don't drop it on the pillow. It's gonna break. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Now listen, let me. I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm
Okay.
having a great time with
I
you.
know it's so
I
fun.
I love Brittany. I love you. I
I love
love
you
you.
too.
I
I
mean, I
love you
don't
too.
know. I don't know if I can love you more than I do.
Oh.
I mean that. You are just God sent you to us and you helped us through our time and everybody's getting better and stronger and things are just going very well. And we look forward to getting together
Yes,
since
yes,
we've all been fully vaccinated.
yes. We're gonna
Yay.
get
And we're
together.
gonna eat. Here's my wife. No, it's not the same. I'm gonna need the location when she start driving, and that's
And
on
that's
there.
on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Yes.
Y'all pray for my wife, please. I mean, she's just. But let me say this. I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna let this session was amazing this evening. Thank you,
Oh, thank you,
Nikki.
Nikki. Thank
Yeah.
you.
What I want to say this, and I don't want to, I don't try to be real deep and spiritual, but until I need to be deep and spiritual, okay. But I do want to encourage everybody, people of God, and everybody all over the place, that it's important for us to be responsible in whatever we do. And that being said, we're as a people of God, we're responsible for those that aren't in the fold yet. The Bible says, the poor you will have with you always. And that doesn't mean just people that don't have money. Some people are poor in understanding. And so we are supposed to be in a position to say, I've got to do what I've got to do, just like our parents did when we were small children. Our parents sacrificed so that we could have it better.
Hmm.
I know my mom did, and I know yours did too.
Yes,
And there were
definitely.
many
I love my
times
mama. I love you, mom. Are you
I
watching?
know that's right. There were many times that your mom could have bought a new dress or a new pair of shoes, but she sacrificed doing that so you could have the best shoes or the best blouse or whatever the case may be. And
Hmm.
so we are in a position now where we have information, watch this, and we have faith. And we have that going for us. And so the people in the world are looking to us for guidance. And it's important for us to say the right thing at the right
Hmm.
time to
Hmm.
not only bring them into faith, but into understanding about how we should proceed in our society, in our community. We are examples and we have to represent holiness at all times. We can't post certain things on Facebook because the people are looking at us. There are people at your job will ask you to pray for them. They
All the
do
time.
that.
They
They
do.
do. They
Yep.
do that because they have confidence in the way you behave.
Hmm.
If you were doing exactly like they're doing, they had no need to ask you to pray for them because if you're exactly like them, they can do it themselves. But they got confidence in you because of what you've exhibited and how you conduct yourself. And so now they believe, based on your conversation, in many times, that you have a connection with God. In the midst of this, you have a connection with God. And so they want that extra boost, if you will, to be able to overcome whatever adversity they've been involved in. So we got to live with a standard of holiness. And my mom talked about that all the time. She told us we had to forget the dumb stuff and then stick to the basic things. And she wanted us always to make her proud. Well, it's very important that God wants us to influence the world and not just be Jesus fanatics. While we got to be a fan of Jesus, we can't only talk about Jesus all the time. We got to talk about the things that the people are interested in and need knowledge on. The Bible talks about the people perishing because they don't have any vision. And so they need a leader to take them to a place where they can learn not just about God, but because that's most important. Because if you start off with giving your life to the Lord, the lights will turn on and the understanding will come forward. So we got to be able to give up of ourselves, be selfless as Christians and saints, and give to the world so they can come into the fold and understand and experience the favor of God and the beauty of holiness that we've been enjoying for so long. We're not perfect, but we need to get better. And I believe every time I ask this question, is there anybody out there that wants to be better? And better is the key there. So we're constantly learning. But what I've learned, I got to be willing to share it with the next person in order to get them to the next level. God bless you. I love you all so very much.
Yes, love y'all out there.
Right here. Everybody for joining in. I thank you. We're going to do this again. Yes. And Sister Brittany, Dr. Brittany, I call her Dr. Britt. Yeah. And she is definitely coming back. And there was another doctor that wanted to come on. And we're going to invite him too to join in our conversation. But we want you to get vaccinated. We are, I don't know how many days into this, but we are getting better. We're getting stronger, and we're going to conquer this. But we got to wear our masks, maintain our social distancing, wash your hands, and get vaccinated. God bless you all. And I want you to be praying for the favor of God to rest on you. Because if you do it, if you commit yourself to him, he's going to show you that he's greater than any obstacle that you've ever faced in your life. God bless you again, and thanks for joining us. Love you, Brittany. Tell your husband I said, what's up?
I will let him know.
And tell little fella, you got rid of little fella too.
Oh, yeah, they out.
They gone. Okay. That's cool. Well, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Love you. Thank you. Tell everybody I said hi.
I certainly will.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. See you next time.
Bye.
Good.